Keanu Reeves has always been one of Hollywood's most universally beloved figures. Modest, kind, thoughtful, and famously unflappable. So when news broke that he had been kicked off the Drew Barrymore show after a heated argument, fans everywhere were stunned. This was Keanu, the nice guy of the film world, the man who gave up his seat on the subway, who quietly donates millions, who rarely even raises his voice. So what could have possibly pushed him to the point of confrontation, let alone one that ended with him being asked to leave, according to multiple sources close to the production? The clash unfolded on what was supposed to be a lighthearted segment about life, love, and legacy. But Drew, known for her spontaneous and emotionally charged interview style, veered the conversation into unexpectedly personal territory, and that's when things began to unravel. Asterisk. The interview started innocently enough. Drew greeted Keanu with warmth and nostalgia, reminiscing about their Babes in Toyland days and celebrating his legacy in action films. Keanu, humble as ever, smiled and tried to steer the conversation toward his upcoming indie sci-fi project. But Drew, sensing an opportunity for emotional depth, shifted the tone with a probing question. You've lost so many people you've loved. Do you ever feel like that grief made you emotionally distant? There was a beat of silence. Keanu looked down, visibly caught off guard. I don't think I'm emotionally distant, he replied slowly.
Ow.
I think I just carry things quietly. Drew pressed on. But don't you think staying quiet lets the pain win? Keanu's expression hardened not in anger, but in something close to hurt. I think people process loss in different ways, and maybe pushing people to open up when they're not ready isn't as healing as it seems. Asterisk audience members noted the shift immediately. Drew, known for her candid tears and unfiltered empathy, took his reply as a challenge. I just think you've spent so long trying to be this calm, peaceful guy that you haven't dealt with the raw parts, she said, her voice trembling. And maybe that's why you always look like you're still carrying something heavy. Keanu raised his eyebrows slightly. You don't know me well enough to say that, he said. The tone was sharp, but still controlled. The crowd fell into stunned silence. Drew, visibly taken aback, blinked several times and attempted to clarify, saying, I just mean maybe you deserve to fall apart once in a while. But Keanu shook his head, his voice firmer now. And maybe not everyone needs to fall apart in public to be whole. The tension was undeniable. Producers behind the scenes began frantically discussing whether to intervene or ride it out. Asterisk, what came next changed everything. Drew, perhaps feeling cornered or misinterpreted, said something that would haunt. The moment long after the cameras stopped rolling, you've built this whole Zen image. But sometimes I wonder if it's just a cover. Like, who are you really under all that serenity? Keanu's jaw clenched. He removed his mic and replied quietly, You invited me here to talk about my work, not to dissect my soul like I'm your therapy project. The audience gasped. Drew reached out, trying to calm the moment, but Keanu stood up and stepped away from the couch. A stage manager appeared off camera. The show cut abruptly to commercial. Keanu left the set and, according to sources, refused to return even. After Drew followed him backstage to apologize, the producers, now faced with a dilemma, made the unprecedented decision to cancel the remainder of the taping. Asterisk, when the story leaked just hours later. Social media exploded. The narrative fractured almost instantly. Hashtags like hashtag Keanu walks out, hashtag Drew crossed the line, and hashtag emotional boundaries trended across platforms. Fans were torn. Some believed Drew had every right to push for a deeper conversation and that Keanu overreacted. Others were appalled at the idea of someone probing personal grief for daytime entertainment. Memes circulated, portraying Drew as a well-meaning but intrusive therapist, and Keanu as a wounded warrior guarding his silence. Commentators weighed in across the political and emotional spectrum, turning the talk show moment into a national conversation about privacy, trauma, and emotional consent. And while Keanu remained silent in the media, his decision to walk away rather than escalate turned into a rallying cry for those who believe boundaries matter even in the public eye. Asterisk, Drew Barrymore, no stranger to controversy, addressed the incident on her next broadcast with tears in her eyes. I adore Keanu Reeves," she said, "and I never meant to hurt him. I'm just someone who's been through so much pain that I sometimes forget not everyone wants to unpack theirs on a stage. I crossed a line and I'm deeply sorry." The apology was met with applause, but many viewers felt the damage had already been done. It wasn't just about one interview. It was about how entertainment sometimes feeds off vulnerability like fuel. The segment, though never aired in full, was dissected and paraphrased endlessly. Even mental health professionals entered the conversation, applauding Keanu's ability to self-advocate without creating drama. "Walking out isn't weakness," one therapist tweeted. "It's choosing peace over performative pain." Despite the fallout, Keanu's public image remained remarkably intact, if not strengthened. His calm refusal to engage in emotional voyeurism was seen by many as emblematic of quiet strength. He appeared days later at a film festival in Tokyo where he was asked about the incident. He smiled politely and said, "Some conversations are better left unfinished." That line alone went viral. Meanwhile, Drew took a brief hiatus from her show, reportedly at her own request. Producers promised to reevaluate interview practices, especially when it came to subjects involving trauma or personal loss. "We want our studio to be a space for healing," one executive said, "not discomfort," though the network refused to release the raw footage. Parts of the incident were confirmed by anonymous crew members, who described the moment as one of the most painful things we've ever seen behind the scenes. Months later, the moment still lingered like a wound in the entertainment world's collective memory. Think pieces appeared in publications ranging from The New Yorker to BuzzFeed, all pondering the same question. What do we expect from our celebrities? Should public figures be emotionally available at all times, or do they deserve the same right to privacy we claim for ourselves? The incident sparked conversations about the ethics of interviewing, particularly when emotional trauma becomes fodder for ratings. Drew, while still loved by her core fans, found herself treading more carefully in interviews, often prefacing emotional questions with disclaimers. And Keanu? He remained Keanu, still kind, still private, still walking away when the world demanded more than he was willing to give. In the end. The clash between Keanu Reeves and Drew Barrymore was not just a media spectacle, it was a cultural mirror. It forced viewers to reconsider how we consume celebrity stories and whether our obsession with authenticity sometimes becomes a form of entitlement. For Keanu, the walk-off wasn't a breakdown, it was a boundary. For Drew, the moment wasn't malice, it was misjudgment. But for the millions who watched, tweeted, and reflected, it was a reminder that even in a world obsessed with openness, silence can still be sacred. Sometimes the most powerful thing a person can say is nothing at all. Just stand up, remove the mic, and walk quietly into the kind of peace no spotlight can reach.